Hi everyone, my name is Mark Lee. As we launch our channel, we'll be going through a series of videos that's going to introduce you to the world of real estate. Today I'm going to walk you through how to read the MLS listing for condominium resale. Before I take you into the contents, I'd like to just say that whether you're a buyer, seller, or an agent, and especially if you're an agent, that I always recommend that you take the MLS data with a grain of salt, because MLS data is drafted by an agents and uploaded by admins. So it is prone to human error, whether it's negligence or not finding accurate info or data input mistake like clicking the wrong box or selecting the wrong options. I'm not going to show you how to read every single part of the MLS listing because I don't think that it would be necessary and it's pretty straightforward. But I am going to highlight some of the items that you should pay extra attention to and also some of the things that you should double check with your agent or the management. So when you get MLS listing from your agent, you will get one of these two versions. One is called the client full and one is called the broker full. They essentially contain the same information, but the broker full has a little bit more. The main difference will be that the broker full has the broker remarks at the bottom. That is essentially a section where we leave instructions, disclosures, or other information not related to the marketing of the unit. There are a few other additional details such as the seller's name, and if it's occupied currently by the owner, the tenants, or is currently vacant. And there's also additional information regarding the real estate agents, as well as some of the other dates. I personally like to send my clients the broker full version because if my client is going to be making an offer on the property, most of that information is going to be on the offer document anyways. And also, if there's a specific offer presentation date, I'm going to need to tell my client anyways. So it's just avoiding an unnecessary step of questions and answers by giving them the broker full version from the beginning. Because specific offer presentation dates are so common nowadays, it's better that the buyers are aware of it and schedule their days accordingly instead of it being a surprise later on. Also, having a specific offer presentation date often means the listing price is set much lower than the market price or the seller's desired price on purpose. So the buyers should be aware that the unit isn't going to be, for example, $700,000, but it's actually likely going to sell around $900,000. But this requires a more in-depth explanation and case studies. So we'll talk about this in another video coming soon. I'll be using the MLS listing of the condo that I recently sold as an example. Starting from top to bottom, you can see the address of the condo at the very top. And then on the right side, you can see the listing price. And if your agent has sent you the sold listing, you can also see the sold price over here. Right below the address, you can see the taxes for the specific year. So this one was for 2021, but if it was early in the year, that you would see the property tax for the year before because the taxes would not have been assessed for that year. Sometimes you're gonna see that the property tax is shown as 0. That's because the condo is too new, so the taxes just has not been assessed yet. And you can see the last status of the condo. This is where you can see the current status of the condo. You're gonna see new, PC for price change, SC for sold conditional, SLD for sold, DFT that you don't see often will be for deal fell through, SUS will be for suspended, and TER is for terminated. Right beside it, you can see DOM, this stands for days on market, and this is basically how long the listing has been on the MLS for, starting the contract date. Right below it, you can see the unit number and the level, but a lot of the times my clients ask me why the level and the unit number doesn't match with the actual unit number that it's been assigned. That's because a lot of the condos, they don't have a specific level such as the 4th floor or 14th floor, 13th floor, because those numbers are avoided due to the stigma they carry. And then also the unit, while the legal description that you see in the title might be a certain number, when the condo is built, the assigned unit number could be a little bit different. Beside it, you're gonna see rooms, bedrooms, and the washrooms. The rooms is not necessarily how many bedrooms there are, but those include kitchen, living room, and rooms such as that. Right below it, the bedrooms, you can see this one is 1+1. The pluses indicate den, solarium, or studies. So these will be the rooms that are not considered bedrooms. And right below it, you can see the washroom. This one has 1x4. That means 4 pieces. Generally, you will see 2 pieces for the powder room, 3 pieces for the shower, 4 pieces for the bathtub, and 5 pieces are usually double vanity, where you have the his and hers. You can see 6 pieces and onwards, but usually you wouldn't see that in a condo. And right in the center, you can see the seller's name, which has been blurred out for privacy purposes. Below that, you can see the possession date. This one was stated as 60 days TBD, to be determined. And a lot of the times you're gonna see a range of date rather than a specific date, such as 30 to 60, TBD, or TBA for to be announced. Sometimes you do see a specific date because the sellers are, they have a specific need. The occupancy is who is occupying the unit at the moment. It could be a tenant, it could be the owner, it could be vacant. While this doesn't mean too much, the one thing you do have to consider that if it's tenanted, most likely you're gonna need 24-hour notice to see the property. And on the left column, you're gonna see the approximate age. So this one is 0 to 5 years. The MLS listing will only show you a range of years, but you can actually find out the specific year of the build if you ask your agent to access the MPAC records or Geo Warehouse, where it shows what year the building has been registered. So right below the age, you can see the square footage. Note that this is the approximate square footage, and this is in the increments of the 100, so 600 to 699 or 700 to 799 and so forth. This square footage is to never include the outdoor space, such as the balcony, terrace, or basement, or a rooftop patio for like a townhome. Sometimes the agents do include those spaces into this square footage, but at the bottom or in the descriptions, they will indicate the breakdown of what exactly is the interior square footage and what's the exterior. But the general rule of thumb is that you only include the interior square footage of the unit in here. So the square footage should be taken with a grain of salt because the sources are often from the sellers or from a previous listing, and those are usually not very accurate. So unless you have a builder's floor plan which shows the exact square footage of the unit, I would always recommend that you ask your agent, or if you're an agent, go into the MPAC records and you can purchase a report that shows exactly how much square footage the unit has. Sometimes the virtual tour companies for marketing produces floor plans with the square footage too, but those are not accurate. Those are just very basic guidelines. You should always pull the records from MPAC. In the middle column, you can see pets permitted or not. The only 2 options are restricted or no, because for every condo, there is a restriction for the pets permitted. So for example, some other condos, you're not gonna be allowed to have exotic pets or pets that will be considered dangerous. A lot of the restrictions are maybe 2 dogs per unit, 2 cats per unit, and there are sometimes size restrictions such as dogs under 25 pounds only. I would always recommend that you check with the management or the concierge regarding the pet restrictions if you do have pets. Right below it, you can see the maintenance fee. This will be the monthly expenses that comes out to cover the expenses of running the condo. So this will be for operation of the amenities, salary for the concierge, security guards, and so on, and sometimes including the utilities if your condo does include certain utilities like water, gas. You can double check this information through the status certificate that the listing agent should provide with you, or you can also purchase it yourself through the management. Below it, you can see which utilities are included or not. The main things to watch out for is the water, the heat, and the hydro. So some of the condos will include all 3, and those are usually the older condos. The newer condos tend to be separately metered for every single utilities, and usually managed by one utility company such as Provident. But this one also I would take with a grain of salt and double check on the information, because the agents often take information from previous listings of the condo. And if somebody had made a mistake with the data input, that means any subsequent listings that comes after it will also have the inaccurate information. So this one is very simple. You can check with your management or the concierge, obviously, or you can just ask the listing agent to have the seller provide you with the bill of the utilities. And moving on to the right side column, you can see on the second section, there's an ensuite laundry. So while you think that this is pretty much given that every condo unit should have ensuite laundry, That's not true. Even in downtown Toronto, there are condos with still coin-operated laundry. A lot of my clients that saw the property were wondering why the condo is so cheap, and I had to explain to them that there are actually condos with a coin-operated laundry, and because of that, not too many buyers are attracted towards these condos. Underneath it, you're gonna see the parking information. Obviously, most of the condos downtown or in the central area will have underground parking. Some of the condo townhouses actually might have surface parking, so that's one thing you should look out for as well. There had been a case where the listing agent had put in the legal description of the parking spot, and it was assumed that was the same as the condo assigned spot description. The buyers were very happy with the spot because it was right beside the elevator, but after the purchase, they found out that the assigned spot was actually on the other side of the garage, and it was a bit of a walk away. So it left a rather bad feeling on what should have been a very celebratory experience. And one thing to note is that if you do have a parking spot or a locker, most likely your maintenance fee is going to be a little bit higher than the units without those items, because the operation cost of maintaining the underground garage or the surface parking or the locker rooms will be added onto the monthly fees. So below it, you can see the list of building amenities. Usually there's more than what's listed here because the MLS system only allows us to select 6 options. And sometimes the agents might not even select all 6. So the best way to check for this is to, when you go see the property, speak to the concierge and ask what amenities are in the condo. And if you're nice enough to the concierge, and if the concierge is not too busy, he or she might be willing to let you take a look at the security camera and then show you exactly what the amenities even look like. Another way to check is to look at the previous listings of the other units, and then you can see the pictures of the amenities there. Nowadays, because of the coronavirus, a lot of the amenities are shut down or restricted access. So the best way to check is to check with the concierge or look at the previous listings. Below it, you can see the list of the rooms and the measurements and the descriptions, such as having hardwood broadloom for carpet, granite countertop for kitchen, and so on. You can see that the measurements are left blank here, and sometimes you do have the measurements here, but there could be discrepancies with measurements, even with identical layouts, because it really depends on who's measuring from where. If you do have the builder's floor plan, then you can copy paste that information. But if you were to measure it yourself, then everybody might come out with a different measurement. The room measurements nowadays are often left blank because measurements could vary depending on which end of the room you measure from. So it's very easy to be inaccurate and misleading. So if the exact measurement is important to you, measure it yourself when you visit. Client remarks is usually where we input the selling points and the descriptions of the unit or the area. Extras is where you usually input what items are included into the unit. So they would include appliances or electrical light fixtures, window coverings. It would also list out exclusions of the items that are not included to the purchase price. So some of the examples could be electrical light fixture that might hold a sentimental value or a very high value, so the seller would like to take it with them. The brokerage remarks, depending on which version of the MLS listing your agent sent you, you may see this section or not. It usually contains things like the offer presentation date, which documents are to be added, disclosure whether the seller is related to the listing agent or not. So it's basically a section where the listing agent leaves a message for the other agents. Below that, you can see which brokerage is listing this property, which agent is the listing agent, the contact information, the contract date, which is the date it was listed on the MLS system. And if you are looking at the sold listing, you can see exactly which date it was sold and then the closing date for the property. So today we covered how to read the Condo Resale MLS listing. I hope that it was helpful to you and also clarified anything you were wondering about or didn't understand. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments and then we'll do our best to answer it. Thank you for watching this video, and if this video was helpful to you, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel for many videos to come. We're not gonna just cover the basics, but also there will be videos regarding the market, the taxes, things to be aware of, not just in the resale, but also in the pre-construction sales, and the glimpse of the real estate agent's life as we take you with us on the road. This was Mark Lee. Thank you.